to myself, what a wonderful world.
Welcome to Coffee, Coaching, and Conversations. Today, we are going to be talking about how to own your divorce so you can reclaim your life. And so I'm super looking forward to this topic because I think that for a lot of people, divorce is something that happens to us. It's not something that happened for us. And because of that, we feel like victims of it. And that is not the case, Queen. You are a diva in your life. So we're going to teach you we're going to go on how to own that. I was going to try to hook up a different microphone, but if you guys can hear me, I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna let that go. All right. So interestingly enough, I was thinking this morning about celebrity divorces and those who have handled it well and those who have not handled it well. Two came to mind that have handled it reasonably well, or at least let me say this, I don't hear much about them in the news. And that is, oh my God, Gwyneth Paltrow, and I can't think of her husband's name right now. And I'm going to name the women, Reese Witherspoon. And I do know she was married to Ryan Phillippe. I can't remember Gwyneth Paltrow's husband's name. And they seem to have handled it well, co-parented well, and are moving on with their lives and doing a really, really great job. You know that because you almost don't hear a lot. You don't really hear a lot about their divorce. Whereas some other couples whose divorces were horrible, like you can't not hear about Kim and Kanye. Like all the time. It was very public. It was very open. You constantly hear, but those are, I think it has to do with the type of people that they are and where they are in their life. You constantly hear about them, whatever it is going on, their new relationships. They've gotten into relationships super quick after that. It's just been an interesting thing. And the thing about divorce is just like marriage, just like you chose your partner, you get to choose who you are in the aftermath of divorce. And you can either have a quiet, amiable, loving divorce where you set up this co-parenting relationship, or you can have a hot and bothered, contentious, constantly going at each other aftermath, where you are just basically trying to one up each other on the type of nastiness that you actually spew out, which ultimately in the end not only hurts you and not only hurts the other person, but it hurts you, but it hurts your kids. It hurts the families that are involved. There's a ripple effect in doing that. Just like there's a ripple effect when you do good, there's a ripple effect when you're kind of going after the jugular for somebody else. So I put before you today blessings and curses, life and death. Choose life. You can kill off the goodwill in your life, the good karma in your life, the positive energy in your life, the peace in your life, the joy in your life, the love in your life by being contentious with your past. Your ex is part of your past. Let him stay in the past, or let her stay in the past, and choose peace and joy and love and go forward in a loving way with yourself, with that person, no matter what. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I know some people who have very contentious divorces, and whoever it is that they are separating from, they are bringing the hate. And it's hard not to react to that. But, not to get all philosophical and woo-woo on you, the antidote to hate is love. And the more you love up on them and you are kind and you are peaceful for them, eventually they're going to go away. They're just going to go away. Why? There's no reaction there. They're not getting anything out of you. If every time they call and are nasty, you just go, okay, well, I'm not going to talk to you when you're like this. I'll talk to you when you've calmed down and you hang up the phone. They're going to stop calling. Because eventually they know she's going to just hang up the phone on me. I can't go call her up and get off. She's just not going to do it. Even the people that come to your house. And I know you think, oh, but then they're just going to come to my house. Let them come to your house. Don't open the door. Let them come to your house. Call the cops. Let them come to your house. Leave. If you know they're going to come to your house, don't be there. Right? There's plenty of ways to handle this that has nothing to do with being contentious. So choose to stay who you're going to be in the aftermath of divorce. So you're going to be, you're going to go for lack of a better example, the Kim and Kanye route. Are you going to go the Reese and Ryan Philippe route. I should have better examples, but those are the ones that come to mind because those are the ones I follow. I'm sure there are more current ones that people follow that are doing an excellent job. But I don't know who they are because I don't really follow a lot of celebrities and current events. That just came to mind while I was thinking. All right. So good morning. If you are here, present yourself in the comments. Let me know you're here. Happy Sensational Saturday. Today, we're going to talk about owning your divorce and reclaiming your life. Queen, get ready to own it. Get ready to own it. All right. So I am the insightful, I am the incandescent, the incomparable Coach Ivy Allen. And basically, I am a life strategist. I'm your life strategist and mindset coach. And I basically help divorced women reinvent and reclaim their life after divorce. I help divorced women fall madly in love with their life after divorce. Who would like to be madly in love with their life after divorce? Drop a madly in the comments if this is you. All right. So I have notes because I'm a person of a certain level of experience. And as my father says, as you become a person of a certain level of experience, you get that disease called CRS, can't remember shit. And I have it pretty bad. So I've got my notes here. So we're going to have a chat today. It's going to be a good talk. I'm looking forward to catching up with you guys. So before we begin, coffee. Today, I just have a regular coffee, regular with a little bit of vanilla crema in it today, nothing fancy. And my mug is, she believed she could, and so she did. So I like to drink my coffee out of positive when I'm not drinking it out of my thermos type mugs that keep it hot, which is what I love. But on the weekends, I get one of my positive mugs, and I like to have my coffee out of my positive mugs. Because I like to read it. I like to contemplate these thoughts that she believes she could and she can. So I believed I could and I can. You can believe you can and you will. All right. All right. So today we're talking about owning your divorce and reclaiming your life. Because if you don't own it, you can't change it. You can't it's like trying to change the vehicle somebody else is driving, trying to decorate somebody else's house. You don't own it. You don't have the right to decorate it. You can't do it. If you're a victim of your divorce, then all you're doing is waiting for your ex to drop the other shoe. You're waiting for your ex to determine how your divorce turns out, what kind of life you're going to live, what kind of money you're going to have, how you're going to raise the children. You're a victim. So you got to own it so you can reclaim your life. All right. So, divorce isn't just an ending. It is an ending, but it's not just an ending. For so many of us, it's like, my life is over. My life is ending, me included. That's how I felt. I did not realize how much of myself was defined within my divorce until I got it, right? Until I did it. You have the ability here to turn your pain into your purpose. You can turn your problem into your promise. You can turn your shame into your shine, and you can turn what feels like failure into freedom, So what was meant to devastate you can be used to elevate you and make you a diva of distinction. This is what your divorce can be, but you must own it. You must choose it, like consciously. You must make a decision around it so that you're empowered around it. If your divorce is something that's happening to you, then you don't have any power in it, right? Your divorce can be something that happens for you, but that's a choice. That's a choice you must make for yourself. So for myself, I'm committed to supporting 1,000 women this year in 2023 to fall madly in love with their life. If you thought you had it good when you were married, guess how good it can get in your divorce. You ain't seen nothing yet. But where that starts is you owning it, right? So let me share with you my story. With the moment I got, I wasn't owning it. Let me tell you about it. I was coming back from the grocery store. Get your coffee, pull up a chair and listen. I was coming back from the grocery store and it started to rain. Not a lot, lightly. I had a car seat my daughter. I'm like, I don't know how many bags. And as per my usual thinking, I'm going to get the car seat and the bags so I can do everything at once because I don't want to make more than one trip. And I think I had the car seat, maybe 1 or 2 bags. I still had to, I couldn't do it with one trip. I stuck the key in and I think I dropped the key. I fumbled, dropped the bags. I didn't drop my daughter and whatever, something broke or crashed or whatever. And I stood there, tears rolling down my eyes. And I was so pissed and I was going, I don't deserve this, son of a, I just started cursing him out. I mean, I went into it. I was so upset. I was upset and I was crying. It was like muttering because I didn't want to upset my daughter. And I was just furious. And the reason why is because when we were married, right, is instantaneous. I never carried the groceries. I'd pull up, I get the baby, and then he would always come out to the car and get all the groceries, do all the heavy lifting and take it in the house. And then we put the food away together. And in that moment, I needed help. And there was no help. It was me and a car seat and these groceries, and I had to do it all on my own. And I wasn't feeling doing all on my own. I was so upset. And in my mind, I remember this clearly. I was like, I didn't sign up for this. Like literally, like that, those are the words that came out of my mouth. I didn't sign up for this after son of a, and I didn't sign up for this. And by that, I meant I didn't sign up for this divorce. I didn't sign up for the single mom thing. I didn't sign up for having to always carry my groceries in alone. I didn't sign up for not having help. I didn't sign up for living alone. I didn't sign up for this divorce. I didn't sign up for it. Like I was like, this is not my gig. This isn't my choice. And I was so pissed. And then in that moment, as soon as I didn't sign up for this came in, the thought shifted immediately. Thank goodness. Divine connection. I got the divine download. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And I paused and I thought, all right, I hear you. And I picked up my daughter and picked up my groceries, got her in the house, got the groceries in the house. So let me explain my epiphany. I did sign up for it. Because when you sign up for marriage, you sign up for everything that goes with it. It says for better or for worse. And the worst that could happen outside of you losing your partner and dying, which feels like really the worst, to lose. I think one of the most horrific things in marriage is to lose a partner you really loved, who loved you back, and he or she dies early. That is so painful. It's heartbreaking because you had something really good, and for whatever reason, health, car accident, whatever, it's not explainable. The person passes on, right? There's other worse: cheating, infidelity, financial infidelity. They're stealing from you. People that have families. I've discovered, I'd forgotten this, that a grandfather that had a father across a whole family across town that showed up at a funeral. I was a kid. I didn't know what was going on. Whole other families, whole other life. People that marry people and it turns out that they are not the gender identity that they thought, or not the sexual orientation that they thought. That's devastating to a lot of people. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that's devastating. If you married somebody and you believe they were heterosexual, to find out that they're gay, that's devastating for a lot of people. I know some people that had that in relationships. It's very painful because you love them. And even if you get it, you're like, I get it. I have to let them go. There's nothing I could do for them. Right. That's still painful. It's a really deep wound. It's a loss. All kinds of worse can happen. Right. They could be unfaithful and then give you a debilitating disease. Like the girl or the woman shows up at your job. Like there's a lot of worse. But when you say I do, the vows are for better or for worse. You did sign up for it. Whether the worse is all of the stuff that I talked about, or the worse is something in between, or the worse is divorce. That's the worst, that's another worse thing where you're letting it go. You signed up for it. And in my case, right, I signed up for it even more because I was the one that actually moved out and initiated the divorce. So I actually took action and was still saying, I didn't sign up for this. Still saying, like, I'm the one leading the charge and still saying, I did not sign up for this. I did. You do. When you say I do, you sign up for everything that happens, including the demise of that relationship. It's not what you have in mind. You don't get married with divorce in mind. Nobody ever gets married with divorce in mind. But if divorce happens, that's just like signing up. You're like, I signed up for a job. You may or may not be there for 45 years. No, very rarely are people taking jobs with the intention that they're going to be there for the rest of their life and retire. You got hired by a boss. That boss may or may not be there for the time that you're in your career. A lot of people get hired under one person, the person leaves and then they leave, right? Whatever happens, when you say yes to the thing, whatever happens as a result of you saying yes, you are signing up for it because you chose it. And when you get that, okay, I said yes to this, and all that this, whatever this is, comes with, now you're empowered. If you say, I didn't sign up for this, and then it goes down, then all you're doing is waiting for more stuff to go down so that you can just complain about it, whine about it, feel victimized by it, because you're telling yourself, I didn't sign up for this. Well, you did. If you sign up for roller skating and you skin your knee, it's not that you want to skin your knee, but you understand that skinning your knee is a possibility when you roller skate, right? You get it? Anybody who's been skydiving, drop a SD in the comments if you've been skydiving. I went skydiving. I did not do tandem. I did free fall. I got to tell you, the disclaimer was like, I think it was like a 6-page document about all that could go wrong on the skydive. And I remember going, do I really want to do this? Is this something I really want to do? And when I signed a paper, literally, I signed up for any number of ramifications, injuries, accidents that could happen as a result of me choosing to participate in this activity, including all the ones that were listed and anything that wasn't listed there that could happen. Now, that was a great experience right up until I hit the ground. It was a fantastic experience. I got ear pressure, like the wind or reversed the flow of fluid in my ear. And I got a rip roaring and ear infection as a result of this. It was like a fluke. It was a freak. That was not on that list. But when I signed up to go skydiving, any ramifications were on that list. That was the thing that happened. I ended up, my ear was hurting so bad. I had a migraine. I had to go to the ENT. I had an infection. It was a whole thing. That was not on the list. I wasn't anticipating that. Neither was the people. I didn't call them back. And even my ear doctor, my ENT said, this was a fluke. Don't let it turn you off skydiving. Like, it just was a weird thing, the way the airflow was when you dived out of the plane. It reversed it. And because it reversed it, it caused you to get an ear infection, right? Did I plan for that? No. Did I envision that? No. Was I thinking about that? No. When I signed on the dotted line, was that the thing that I wanted to walk away from? No. But when I signed up for it, whatever happened in that experience, I get to own. This is the same as your marriage and your divorce. When you sign up for marriage, whatever happens in the marital experience, you did sign up for. You did. And the worst thing you can do is say, hey, and I get it. I have felt that. And I think it's okay to acknowledge, this isn't what I signed up for. This isn't what I envisioned. So what are you going to create as a result of that? Yeah, I didn't sign up for whatever, my husband to stash money for me and not tell me about it. I didn't sign up for this. Okay. Well, I signed up for marriage, which means in my marriage, I did sign up for whatever comes with this man. This is what comes for this man. Now I'm at a choice point. I can either own this or I can turn a blind. Some people turn a blind eye and pretend like he's not stealing. We don't have an issue. We don't need to go to counseling. I don't want to talk about it. Or some people bail. I'm just going to leave him because nobody steals from me, right? Whatever, but whatever's in the experience, you get to choose. The minute you start telling yourself, this is something that's happening to me, you have abdicated all of your power. And now you're just waiting for them to make a decision about what happens. Like, you're not a part of the relationship. You basically, in those moments, have signed over 100% of your rights to somebody else. And you're just waiting for them to tell you how it's going to go. This is not an empowering position in marriage. And it's definitely a disempowering position in divorce because you're not even married to this person anymore. they don't technically have a say, right? Now, if you have kids, you're going to have to co-parent. So there's some partnership and some cooperation that has to happen so that you guys can raise the kids. But technically speaking, if you're divorced, they don't really have a say. They don't have a say. But if you're waiting for them to determine how your life is going to go, like I have to do XYZ PDQ because I don't know what he or she is going to do. I don't know if they're going to give me money. I don't know if they're going to do whatever they're going to do. Nuts to that. Screw that. This is your life. And the minute you own, I signed up for this. I signed up for this man, which means I signed up for this experience. The only question I have to ask myself is, what am I prepared to do now? Now you're empowered. Right? You start talking about, I didn't sign up for this event. That was the message that I got that day. That was the message that I got that day. You did sign up for this, Ivy. And it's not a question of whether or not who's right, who's wrong, who did the dirt, who didn't do the dirt. The question is, what are you going to do now? You got your key, you got your kid, you got your groceries, you signed up for this. What are you prepared to do to make your life amazing in this moment? So I got my groceries, I took it in, and I'm like, all right, well, then if this is what I signed up for, I need to make this work for me. And that was when I started looking into grocery delivery, right? You see, change on a dime. Now I'm owning my life. I'm not bitching about, complaining about what he isn't doing anymore, or that he doesn't carry the groceries, or that he doesn't do XYZ PDQ. Now I'm empowered. I'm looking for solutions. I'm solving the problem. And I started getting groceries delivered. Or I started shopping, doing the grocery shopping when my daughter was at daycare, and then taking them home so that I didn't have to carry both. Or I shopped differently. I got sitters and then I went shopping. Like, you know, if she was with my mom, I'd say, can I run to the grocery store, something like that. I found all kinds of creative ways. So I wouldn't have to choose between my groceries and my daughter and make all these massive trips, or drop something or anything like that. I made it work for me, but it came from letting go that it was all his fault and that he needs to fix this. When you're in, I didn't sign up for this, and it's somebody else's fault, you're waiting for them to fix something that pisses you off. They're not going to do it. You might get lucky and you're like, well, if he gave me more money in child support, if he picked up the kids on Tuesdays, that would really be helpful to me. You might get lucky and they may do that. But just like they're not in control of your life, you're not in control of their life. They may not pick them up on Tuesdays. You still have a problem on Tuesdays, whether or not they pick them up or not. The question is, what are you going to do about Tuesdays? It's not what are you going to do about him? What are you going to do about Tuesdays? Because you get to own your life. That's how you reclaim your life. You get to own when you own your divorce, you're like, I chose to marry this man, which means I chose everything that comes with him, including the fact that we're no longer together, because I'm choosing to not accept the way he loves me, or his way of being, or how he evolved. I choose not to accept that. And I'm going to move on and reclaim my life, right? It's important to do that, because if you don't own it, you can't control it. If you don't own your divorce, then you don't have a say. You're just at the behest of whatever it is he chooses to decide. So what was interesting about that is that when I was thinking about my marriage in that moment, is that I was willing to accept in that moment a bad marriage to get my groceries delivered. Like, I was just thinking about my groceries being delivered. It was like my groceries being carried in. There's a little piece. And I was willing to accept a bad marriage to have my groceries delivered. Like, I didn't sign up for this. It's all his fault. We're getting a divorce. Like, never mind all the things, the reasons that we were getting divorced were right. Like, the reason we chose it, right? That was the right thing to do. And here I am complaining about groceries. And in that moment, it just seemed like having my groceries delivered, like I was willing to tolerate a bad marriage rather than choosing my own divorce in that moment. It was an eye opener. It was such an empowering moment. Yeah, you did choose it, because we're willing to tolerate less than we deserve when we feel like we're in crisis and we're not empowered to do anything about it, right? I was willing to tolerate in that moment, thinking about a bad marriage and reconciliation in that moment, like literally, like, I didn't sign up for this. I don't deserve this. I should be with somebody, yet willing to tolerate all this stuff, versus standing for what I really wanted was to be taken care of, whether it's by him or me. I just wanted to be, I just didn't want to carry my groceries. That's it. But I'm starting, and now I'm in this conversation with myself in that moment, blaming him. It's all his fault. And to get him to carry my groceries, you'd have to tolerate a bad relationship, right? Right. Some of us believe that the lie that a bad marriage is better than being divorced, and you will put up with, accept all of their crap and BS so that you potentially can get back into this marriage or stay in this marriage, instead of just taking ownership of the fact that, hey, I didn't sign up for it. Like I signed up for all that you come with. And what I discovered is some of the stuff you come with, I don't want. So I'm making a different choice. Right? So a bad marriage, you don't have to tolerate a bad marriage. You don't have to tolerate a bad relationship. No one should tolerate a bad relationship. I don't care who it's with, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your boss, your coworkers, your former spouse. No one should tolerate a bad marriage. It causes suffering. You will suffer in it. You suffer. The other person may not be suffering, right? They may not be suffering. They don't care. They go home every night to their, if it's a boss, coworker, they go home every night. They don't think about you. If the marriage isn't great and the other person is getting all that they want from you or all that they want out of you, they might think it's a great marriage. Or even if they complain about you ad nauseum, but you're doing everything that they want you to do, they have no reason to leave. They get their needs met, right? A bad marriage causes, if you define it as a bad marriage, is causing your suffering. I remember one time I was in counseling and I said to a counselor, talking about different people in my life and all that. And we were going through, as you talk about your divorce, you begin to realize your pattern with men. I was talking about these different men and I was like, what is it with, why am I always the one sitting in counseling trying to deal with this? And he's like, because you're the one that's upset. They're not upset by your behavior. You're upset with their behavior, right? So, and if they got their own counseling to do around that. You're upset. So you can't make somebody else responsible for your upset. You must take responsibility for your own emotional health, well-being, and stability. You must take responsibility for that. So if you're in a bad marriage or any bad relationship, if you're dating after marriage or whatever, it causes suffering and you're not taking responsibility for your own suffering, like the fact that you're staying in something that doesn't feel good, you don't feel loved, you don't feel supported, then that's really on you. You need to step it up your game and get support, get help, get out of it if that's what it is, because you're not causing their suffering by staying in a bad relationship, or maybe you are, but mostly you're causing your own suffering, right? It's draining emotionally to stay in a bad relationship. It's draining emotionally to stay in a place where you're constantly a victim. Even if you're divorced and you're not owning your divorce, it's draining emotionally to be like, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like they have so much control over your life after divorce that you're like just waiting for them to tell you what your next move can be. And I get it. Some of you have alimony, some of you have this, but the terms of that divorce and alimony is not based on necessarily your day-to-day activities. They have to pay that. It's a matter of law. But even that, if you're hooked on to, I can't make it without this alimony, I can't make it without this child support, then yeah, you created this codependent relationship with them, and it's draining emotionally because you always feel like you're either going to bow and bend to their will, or you're going to be taking them to court because they're late. Either way, emotionally, you are hooked into whatever it is you think that they're supposed to provide for you. I'm not saying that they're not. Like for all those ladies out there, if you get alimony and you get child support and it's a matter of it's been court ordered and you know that, hey, that was between you and him and the courts. I get it. I'm saying to unhook from that, because the minute he doesn't pay, game on. You are hooked into it. I'm not saying you don't take him to court, you don't do what's right, you don't do what's fair. But when you tell yourself you can't make it without him, you're not owning your divorce. You're letting him dictate what you can and can't do from money, because you get emotionally triggered by the financial impact that this has. And either you're calling him up talking about the support check was late and and la 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 la, or you're taking him to court and telling the judge that the support check was late and you can't live on it and da 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 da. It's trigger, right? It's draining emotionally. You become a victim. You're victimizing yourself. You're telling all the stories about what you have to do to get the money that he owes you, that you deserve, because he's got to pay for these kids. Instead of being like, he's going to pay for these kids or he's not going to pay for these kids, I will do my due diligence, but his paying or not paying doesn't define the life I have, and it doesn't define the life my kids have, because I do my own thing. What he gives is the gravy on top, and he gives it because he should. And he gives it because he's the father of these children, and that's responsible and respectful. But that doesn't define my life after divorce. I'm not going to be hooked by that. And not only that, you're teaching your kids how to interact in a relationship, either a healthy one or a not healthy one. Right? So this is important. You're teaching your kids payback, if that's what you're doing. You're teaching your kids manipulation, if that's what you're doing. You're teaching your kids drama, if that's what you're doing. Like, you teach your kids these things even when you're divorced. They're watching how you both handle this, and they're either going to fall in love with women because women are the most amazing thing, or hate women because women, and this is girls and boys, either your daughter will have the utmost respect for you and admire how you handle it, or she'll be like, oh my God, my mom was horrible to my father, I don't want to do that. And then they be the reverse. They become doormats or whatever, or they may even, some of us do our real work and get at the bottom of this and don't make those decisions, but your kids are watching. Is this who you want to be? Do you want to be a victim of your divorce, waiting for the other shoe to drop, or do you want to own it, right? You can't serve two masters. What do I mean by that? Either you're a victim or you're empowered. You're either, I'm owning it or I'm not owning it, right? It's one or the other. You can't be lukewarm about this. Either you're reclaiming your life and you're owning it, or you're letting somebody else dictate how that goes for you, right? You must own where you are. You must own what you do. You must own who you have become in this divorce so that you can reclaim it, right? This is the most important thing. Then you have choices, right? And once you choose, once you have a choice and you're ready to do that, once you choose divorce, right? I'm getting divorced and I'm choosing it. I'm choosing to be in this process. I'm choosing to reclaim my life. I'm choosing to have an amiable co-parenting relationship with my partner. I'm choosing it. I've decided that this is how my life is going to be. Once you choose divorce, you can make a decision, which means there's no going back, about how your life is going to be. It's kind of like, once I chose to take the skydiving, then I made a decision about how I was going to interact with the training, how I was going to interact with the trainer, how I was going to go up in the plane, whether or not I was going to get the photos. I began to make choices aligned, or decisions aligned with that choice, right? And I love to talk about the distinction between a decision and a choice. The freedom in choice is you can choose again. I could have chosen skydiving and then 10 minutes later chose, I don't want to do this. I could have shown up for the skydiving thing, read the disclaimers, and then my choice could have been, I'm not going to do this. And then 2 weeks later could have said, you know what, I bailed. I'm going to choose to sign up again and do it, right? Choice gives you freedom, because you can make a choice and go, not exactly what I was thinking. You can choose again. Decision is different. When you decide, you kill off all other options. So I make this distinction because they both can give you freedom. You can choose and then choose again, freedom. And then you can choose and then decide, and then there's no going back. And sometimes decisions are the best thing. You can choose divorce and then decide the past is in the past. I'm not going to drag all of our stuff, our luggage, our baggage, our hurt, our pain into my future. I've decided I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to create who I want to be in my divorce. I'm going to reclaim my life. I am going to reclaim my life, not allow him to decide from the past. We're not married anymore. He doesn't have that kind of influence over me and my life and what I do. I'm going to decide now who I'm going to be in the aftermath of this divorce. I get to reclaim my life, right? I get to choose who I want to be. I get to decide the kind of life I want to live. I get to decide what kind of parent I want to be. You get to do that once you choose divorce. But if you're resisting and I didn't sign up for this and I didn't do that, there's no decisions to make because all you've done is abdicated your power. There's nothing for you to do except wait for the other shoe to drop and wait for them to make a choice or make a decision about your life. You're not reclaiming anything. When you own it, you're saying, I choose this, right? Even though it's not what my intention was. I intended to be married to this man forever and ever. But now I get to create a new intention. I choose divorce. And I'm going to decide how I'm going to handle that forward, which means when I say it, I'm not going back. I'm not going back. I'm not going to relive the past with this man and beat myself up over what I did and didn't do in this, right? That's why you want to own it. You want to choose it. You own it. How you own it is you choose it, right? You choose it. All right. Once you've chosen and you've decided there's no going back, that you drew a line in the sand from this day forward, I'm going to create a different life that looks different from the life that I had with this man. It's going to look different. Now you can take a few steps and really own your life after divorce. So I'll give you 5 things to do. 1, reflect. Look at who you were and choose who you want to be. Look at who you were and how you got there, which puts you in a position to choose who you want to be. But reflect. Some of it, marriage, divorce, losing someone in divorce is painful. If you don't take the moment to reflect on how you got there, you're more likely to repeat that mistake in your next relationship, which you don't want to do. You don't want to do. Or be bitter about it because you didn't reflect. It'll be all their fault. And if it's all somebody else's fault, once again, you're abdicating any power you have and you're just waiting for them to make up for, apologize for something that they did. And I got to tell you, and I did a live on this, or I put a post up about it. You may be waiting forever for an apology you're never going to get. You're never going to get. But if you've had time to reflect, you can move on from whatever happened in that marriage, whether or not they apologize, number 1. Number 2, you can reflect on where it was that you contributed to the drama, right? Maybe it is they don't need to apologize, but you do. Maybe you do. But you can't get to that place of wholeness without reflection, right? Pain plus reflection equals progress. But if you don't reflect, if you take the reflect out of that, all you're left with is pain. All right. Responsibility. So once you've reflected, now you can take responsibility. Where did you contribute things? What could you have done different? What could you be responsible for in this relationship? This is really the meaty part of this, because it's the first thing people don't do. We're often so hurt. All there is just finger pointing, right? But when you reflect, you go, one finger pointing at me, one finger pointing at them means 3 fingers are pointing back at me. I have equal responsibility. Marriage is 100%, 100%. So if it was 100% his fault, it's possible it was 100% your fault too, right? The other thing that when you take responsibility, you get to release pain, guilt, shame, and fault, because you're going to own what you did and let go of what you didn't, right? And you get to release, you go, yeah, I could have done that better and I didn't. And I get why I didn't. And I understand that because you've reflected. So you get to let go of the guilt, the shame, the pain. It's an opportunity for you to do that, which leads to the next one is you get to realize the possibilities and opportunities you have going forward. Once you're not in pain, you don't have guilt, you've taken responsibility and you reflected, like you've let a lot of stuff go. And once you realize your possibilities and your opportunities, now you're able to relate to yourself in a different way and reclaim your life. Because now you have a relationship to yourself in a different way, an empowering way. You're not waiting for them to decide your fate, whether it's about your child support, your alimony, your custodial agreements, the house you live in, the cars you drive, the business you have, whatever ties you had, you're moving on from those, and you get like whatever the court said is what the court said. So what? I'm still going to move on and reclaim my life. Those things support my life. They don't determine the kind of life I live. And so many people let that determine the kind of, even men, I have to pay this so-and-so alimony. It impacts my, it's a bill. It's like the light bill. You know you have to pay it. You have a choice. You can pay it in good faith because it's for your children or whatever. It's part of the tax of being married, right? Sometimes we make decisions and then later we have to pay a tax on that decision that we made, right? There's a cost to the decision that we made. There's a cost to our divorce. It's a choice that we made. There's a cost to it. And you can either look at it like it's just a Pepco bill and get another job and move on with your life and earn more money, and so that it's negligible, right? Or you can complain about it and be like, oh, I got to pay her and now I'm all set back and da, 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 da. You made all the money that you made before, you can make it again. Money is a renewable resources. Renew your resources. Don't complain, right? It is what it is. It is what it is. So, Diva, own your stage, own your divorce, own the stage you're in the process, own the literal stage that you're in. It's your life. Your life is your stage. If you want to move forward in your life and reclaim your life in a powerful way, you got to own where you are and you got to own your stage. You got to get up there and do your thing. And you got to lead your life like you own it and like you want people to show up for it, right? You want people to show up and witness it, right? So that's what I have to share with you today. The key to reclaiming your life: reflect, responsibility, release, realize, relate, and reclaim. Those are your steps. Make sure you take the time, give yourself the time and the space to spend as much time as you need in the reflection part. That is really the key. Most of us don't take the time. Now, I got lucky. I got this divine download in that moment and I had a shift immediately, but then I had to really take the time to reflect to see where else was I blaming? Where else was I shaming? Where else did I feel embarrassed? And I just abdicated and said, well, this is the way it is because this is what he's choosing to do. What he chose to do or chooses to do has nothing to do with me. I get to own my life. And either what he does is either an enhancement, or if it's a detraction, or if it's a distraction, or it takes away from my life, then I get to choose how I interact with him. That's the bottom line. You do not have to allow someone to dictate your life after divorce, but it starts with you owning the fact that you are divorced and that you can make different choices, that you are free to make different choices, that you are empowered to make different choices, that you're nobody's victim and you don't have to wait for, get permission from, see what he's going to do to live, love, and enjoy your life. That's the bottom line. And that's how you reclaim your life. You after divorce, you own your divorce. All right. I hope this message was useful for you. If it was useful for you, share it out with somebody that might enjoy it or it might support them. All right. So couple announcements. I'm so stoked. So February is for femininity. February is going to be all things feminine. We're going to talk about how you raise your femme factor. I'm super excited. I don't know who's on here. Somebody's on here. We're going to talk about how you raise your femme factor. So we're going to talk about femininity in the context of being fit, financially free, your faith. We're going to talk about family. We're going to talk about all things feminine. We're going to talk about your fierceness, your fabulousness. We're going to talk about flourish, how you flourish. We're going to talk about lots of things. It's going to be exciting. I'm super stoked about this. All right. The new time for coffee coaching and conversations, because I want to up my femininity. And one of the ways that I do it is I dance. You guys know this. I am a Zumba girl. I like Zumba. My favorite Zumba teacher is doing a class at 9 a.m. this time on Saturdays. So I'm going to go live at 8 a.m. on Saturdays, and they'll be maybe a little bit shorter. We'll see how that goes. If I need more time, then I'll do it at 7:45. So it'll be early, but the replays will be on here, and then we move them over into the group. If you're not able to get here at 7 a.m. and the replays aren't up, join my group on NAS.io. I will drop the group link. Actually, no, it's actually already here. Join my tribe here. It's already there. Join the group, because many of the replays are housed there, and you can kind of watch them. As you know, some of these are set to expire, so they're not always on the page. Many of these are set to expire, so they're not always on the page. So I'm super stoked. So some of the things we're going to have, I'm going to talk about morning rituals, evening rituals. We're going to talk about your fit, finance. I'm going to show you some of my favorite like beauty products and things. I may have a few guest speakers on, but it's going to be all February. February is the month of love. And for divorced women, I always say, if you can't be with the one you love, love the one you with. And who are you with all the time? Yourself. So we're going to love up on ourselves and expand our femininity. It's going to be really a great thing. All right. So that's that. Again, if this supported you, let me know. I'd love to hear what you liked about it, what you want to hear more of. Do you like these to be longer? Do you prefer that they be shorter? I need your feedback, and you can DM me. If you liked something, put it in the comments. If you have a question, put it in the comments. I read the comments and I ask all the things. My hair is really, you guys can see it. It's like sitting on my chin, and it's really like it's itchy. It's itchy. All right. If you've not already done so, as I said before, join my community on NAS.io. Many of the events that I'm going to be doing in February, many of the workshops and trainings are going to be done inside of the group. They're not going to be on Facebook. So take this opportunity to join now if you haven't joined now, and it will send you reminders and let you know for the things you sign up. I'll probably try to put the whole February calendar up inside the group so you can see everything. Additionally, join my mailing list, because I will be mailing you like, this is what's coming up for the week. This is what we're going to be doing. So you want to be on this mailing list so you can get dialed into everything that's going on for the month of February. So it's going to be a fabulous, feminine, delicious month. I'm super looking forward to it. I hope you will join me in the month of February. All right. So that's all I got for you today. Happy Celebration Saturday. Make sure to take some time to celebrate you today. Whatever that is, give yourself a yes, a high five. I did it. I made it. I got this. Let yourself know. You want to anchor in the good feelings and celebrate yourself so that the things that you are happy that you do, you keep doing them. But you got to take the time to celebrate and acknowledge yourself for that. We women, we spend so much time and we don't really say to ourselves, you know, that was really awesome. Good job, Ivy. High five. Yeah, we don't do that. We just keep pushing, plowing through. It's draining. It drains you. And we're going to talk about that too. That's another feminine. You got to like nourish yourself. You got to nourish to flourish. All right. I hope this served you. If it did, let me know what served you. Drop your comments in the comment section, and I will see you next Saturday at 8 a.m. Next Saturday at 8 a.m. So be here at 8 a.m. Some of you may definitely need your coffee at that time, but I will be pumped because I'll be getting ready to go to my class. So it's going to be awesome. All right. I'll see you next Saturday. Take care. Ciao.
I think to myself, what a wonderful world.